Hey guys, Chris Dick here. Today we're going to be carrying on with our discussion on code first migrations. Um, this is the third installment in this short series here, and essentially what this video is going to focus on is multiple data contexts. Up until this point, we've been focused on using our data context as our start point, with the assumption that the ASP.NET tables are created for us by the register process. But that doesn't always happen. So what we're going to work on is we'll first look at what our database looks like right now. We've got all of our tables here, users tables, that's all the ASP.NET tables. We're going to delete everything and we're going to start from scratch. So we run our script here that just deletes all the tables. We start from scratch here. Now we're going to go back into Visual Studio. Now, one thing I suggest before you get anything started here, make sure you do a backup. Okay, just in case something goes wrong, just go to right-click on your application folder, go to Send to, and then compressed zip folder. Okay, that'll get you backed up and make sure that you don't lose any of your hard work in case something does go wrong, and it just gives you a start point if you have to back up. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to delete our migrations folder. Okay, I know we've done some hard work. For me, what I did was I saved a few of the talking points and some of the things that we paste over again, which is the default SQL, and create and edit date information. The rest will be things that I'll be using throughout the application or the video. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to be running enable migrations again. Excuse me. Now, when migrations are run here, it's going to complain and it's going to say that there are more than one data context. And what we did last time was we enabled the data context we enabled migrations on our data context. Today we're going to enable it on application DbContext. Now it doesn't really matter the order that you're going to do, but what will matter is where you're going to place those contexts or the configurations. So I'm going to look at just use enable dash migrations dash question mark, and we're going to look at one parameter in particular, which is this one here. Okay, the migrations directory. All right. So I'm going to go back here, paste that code in, and I'm just going to grab this parameter name here so I don't spell it wrong. Okay, and the migrations directory is migrations.identity. Okay, I'm going to call it identity. You could call it whatever you like, but it just puts it into a folder location that's sort of segregated. Okay, so the next thing we do is we just push enter here. And when this creates, you're going to see a folder here called migrations.identity. And then within that folder, you are also going to see another file called configurations. This configuration simply means that it is always going to be related to our identity configurations. Okay. Now the next one we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to go back up here and just copy this code. Okay. Push the up arrow and then paste this new stuff over, and this is, as you can see here, is we are now working with data context. The folder or the migration directory will be migrations.datacontext. Okay, we'll push enter on that, and now you're going to see another migrations folder pop up that is just for data context. Okay. Once that's ready, we can take a good look at what it's got as well. And the reason we're doing this is because in each of these configuration files, there's a seed method. Okay, if we look at data context, for example, I may want to seed my my genres, for example. All right, And I have to, in order to do that, I have to have access to the data context. Or if I'm only using the identity DB or sort of the ASP.db context, which is over here, we should just bring that over here. If I'm using this one, what I would have to do is create an instance of data context and do the process individually there. So it would get a little bit confusing, and um, it's not inherent to what is being passed into the seed method, but it also implies that the configuration may be doing too much. Okay, so now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add a migration. Okay, and let's just take a look at the help for add migration. All right, so in here we have the name of the migration. Okay, the configuration type name, which is going to be important, and the rest of them are not so key to what we're trying to accomplish. But the configuration type name is. Okay. The configuration type name basically says, okay, where is this thing located? Okay. So from here, I'm gonna run the identity. Okay. And what I can do here is this. All right, like that, and it's basically the full path. Okay. To the configuration. And by the way, we should do this. Add migration, and we're going to give it a name, and I'm going to call it initial create identity. Identity. Okay, good. All right. So over here, we push enter, and what this is going to do is create a migration in my migrations identity folder. Okay. And as you can see, it's created all of our ASP.NET tables. However, it will also pull in tables from the other DB. And the reason is it's the foreign key relationship that ratings has on games and users. Okay, so just imagine here, a rating has a user ID. Okay, a rating also has a game ID. If it has a game ID, then it must have a game table. And because game is related to game genre will be pulled in. And because game genre has a genre, then the genre table will be pulled in. So there's all these cascading effects that happen just by virtue of doing that. So because these tables actually have nothing to do per se with what we're trying to accomplish, we're going to delete those, okay? And then we delete anything. So all we have here, just scroll up, is anything to do with ASP.NET. Okay, that's all we want in the identity stuff here. The next thing, we delete anything that is not related to ASP.NET in the down method. Okay, so we delete all of these things. Okay, very good. All right. Now, just to separate these so everybody can see, so we've got our foreign key indexes that are on our ASP.NET tables, and this is the stuff that just comes straight from ASP.NET, and because their entity configurations are nicely designed, they've kind of got everything that they need to have here. Okay. And one other feature that these tables don't have is that they don't have the automatic ID generation. And that is because ASP.NET internally handles the creation of IDs just like we do, or we did before, if you've been following this series of videos, where we just generate using GUID.new GUID. Okay. All right. Next one, we're going to create an initial create on our data context. And we just do that like this. Okay. Remember, this is the full path to the configuration. Okay. If you consider how that works, first application.migrations.data context, and then we're pointing to this class. Okay, so we go enter, and again, that's going to create all of our data context tables. But we also, if you recall, have an interaction with an ASP.NET table, which is users. That's the only one, and it just pulls it in because ratings needs that. So we can delete that one safely as well. Okay, and again, any interactions, and we'll just double check. Okay, now here, this one here is related to a foreign key that gets dropped. So we can keep that because if we've run our configurations correctly, we should have had each one of these things up to date anyway. Okay, so the next step that we do is we run the update database command. Okay, if you recall, we've got nothing in here. Okay, so we're going to run update database. Now this is going to complain. I already know this, and what I want you to see is what errors come up. Okay, so what we've got right now is an error that says more than one configuration type was found in the assembly, and that essentially means that from first application is just pointing out that hey, there's more than one configuration in this set. Which one do you want to run? And I'm going to look at the help here. Okay, just expand this. All right. So here we have this configuration type name again. Okay, and if you recall, the type name is the full domain path to your configuration, and we are going to run our identity configuration. Okay, so that is first application, and sorry, that is over here, configuration. Not, we're not, I went into the migration file, we're actually going into configuration. Okay, and we go to configuration. Hopefully that's spelled right. Okay, we'll push enter. Now we're going to see what we should see is a clean run on this, and we have it has now gone off and created our ASP.NET tables. Okay, nothing complicated there so far. Now what we'll do is run our data context configuration. And you see, all I have to do, because of the way we named it, all I had to do is change this middle part here. So migrations is always the same, data context, and then configuration. All right. So I run my update database. Okay. And if I go back into SQL Management Studio, you'll see that I now have them created. Now, if you recall, we had all sorts of things to think about with how our databases are set up, right? And in particular, we have our default SQLs on all of our columns. So we're gonna also right now add in a migration, okay, for the initial, sorry, not the initial data create, or not, we're gonna add in default values, okay? And we're going to add that in for our data context. Okay, this will generate a blank migration because there hasn't been any changes to the models, but there is, however, changes to the databases that needs to be made. Okay, so here we're going to add in changes to ratings. Okay, the column that will be changed is rating ID. Okay. Now I'm going to be making an interesting little application to this, because one thing that we recognize is that there's 4 tables that need to be fixed, but we don't want to have to repeat a bunch of code. So I'm going to do something a little different at the end. Okay. All right. Now this is a string data type. Okay. Nullable is equal to false because this is not nullable. Okay. We have a max length. Okay, and max length is 128. And the last thing that we have, and if you recall, I had it over here in my code, my little notepad code there. All right. Now, there's three other things we're going to change: create, date, and edit date. Okay. They are both not null, but they are also not a string. So we're going to be making some changes here. These are datetime fields. Okay. And they have a type that is a default, that is, of get UTC date. Okay. Now, we have to do this code several times. Okay. If you see here, we've got a pattern: rating, 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 rating ID, and then create and edit date, never change. So we're going to do something a little fancy here. Okay. We're going to create a list of strings. Okay. If we've got, if we see this error here, we just add in the collections.generic library. And I'm going to call this tables. Okay. So this is going to be a list of tables. Okay. And this table list is going to have, first of all, it's going to be rating. Okay. Just name it based on the model name, by the way. Game, game genre, and genre. Okay. Now, I'm going to throw this all into a for loop. Okay. And we're going to call this table for each table in tables. All right. Throw all this code into here. Okay. Now, the key here is we're going to call this, we're going to create a table name. Okay. And we're going to set that table name. We're just going to append an S to the table name. So if I have rating, then it's going to become ratings. Okay. And we're also going to add DBO and S. Okay. So if you're not familiar with string format, this is one way of using it. Okay. Next thing, we're going to create the primary key. All right. Primary key, pretty straightforward as well. It is usually the table or model name plus ID. Okay. Now, if you recall, we have in ASP.NET users, we don't have that format, but we are not making that change, so it doesn't make any difference. Okay, so our table name can be subbed over right here. Okay, primary key, pretty straightforward, right there, and we're pretty good. All right, so now this little bit of code is going to carry off repetitive actions on those four tables. Okay, we're not going to worry about the down settings right now. We certainly could do that, but it's in this case, it's really not necessary. All right, so okay, I'm going to run the update database one more time, and I'm just going to, before I do that, I wanted to sort of make some proof here that we've done everything correctly. We're just going to create our ratings table and see what currently exists in there. All we have is foreign keys that are in there. There is no defaults. Okay, so when we run this, it's going to update those defaults. So I'm going to press enter, and it'll run the data context configurations. All right. Now, if we go over to here, once it's done, I'm going to close this script, right click, script table 2, create 2, and we should have our defaults added right there. Okay, fantastic. All right. Now, of course, the next part is we really should just test to see that our application is working. So let's just run our application, find out if we can create a new registration, and if everything went well, it should be just fine. Okay, we're here at our register page, and we're going to test it out. This will be my first time trying this, so we'll see what happens. If we get errors, we'll deal with them too. Press enter. If everything went well, then we should have tables created and everything should be up and running, and looks like we saved our lives. So we've got that, and just close up these messages. So we've got a new user. If we go into our SQL Management Studio, you'll see that user sitting there, which is nice. Very, very good. Okay. Now the next stage, let's go to games. We'll check out that. And of course, we don't have any games, but we're going to add some right now. And we push create. Okay. Now the next stage is we're going to add some seed data, because if you notice here, we've got no genres. All right. So we're going to close up our application. And we're going to create another migration. Okay. And our migration in this case is going to basically be a blank migration, okay? And all we want it to do is all we want it to do is just simply update some database. We're going to add in some seed data, okay? Now our seed data is pretty straightforward, okay? We let's add in a few genres, okay? I'm going to create just a list of names for genres because they're just a bunch of strings. Okay, same as we did before, right? So we call it genres equals new. Excuse me. New list of strings. This is just going to be a list of names. That's all, guys. Okay, genres, and because it just sometimes takes a little bit more time to create a full genre object than it does to just throw out a game name. Okay, so let's do this here. Multiplayer. All right. Oops. First shooter. How about guns? Well, just did another one here. Car crash. Okay. So I'm going to do this for each genre in genres. All right, we're going to create a new genre. Okay, whoops. Do it like that. And we'll make sure that we have it added. So we want first application.models. New genre equals genre. Okay, new genre dot name equals genre. Now you may say this is a little bit of overkill, but you will start to understand how important it is to use features like this as your data gets a lot more complex. So we're going to add the new genre to the database. Okay, and then once we're done, we're going to save the changes. Okay, just like that. Okay, so here we're just looping around. We're going to add 4 new genres and then add it, and then delete it. Okay, now one of the things that we do want to consider is that when we're adding this data, we don't want to have duplicates, right? So here we have to do a couple things. We're going to check for a genre. Okay, I'm going to call it check genre. All right, equals context dot genres, okay, dot singular default, and we're going to ask for the name. This is similar to what we've done in our duplicate checking before, okay? And the name in this case is genre, okay? Or we could just do this. Let's just do this, new genre dot name, okay? The reason we're using that model is because at some point you may create some logic in your model that reconfigures the name or something like that. So if you're just going straight by name, you may run into some problems. Okay, so here we say if check genre equals null, okay, in other words, it was not found, we're going to simply add it to the database. Very easy stuff. Now that allows us here to, we can add a whole bunch more. If I decided later on, I'm just going to keep adding and adding and adding. Every new add-in that I put, it's just going to add it in, and away I go. Okay. So we do an update migration. Actually, I'm just going to go like that, and I'm going to say add. Let's see, default genres, okay? So there's no data that's going to be in this configuration, but there will be a seed that accompanies this as well. So if I'm running my full migration right from start to finish, I will be able to I will be able to simply just run all of them, and it'll seed my data for me as well. If I press enter, okay, and if you recall, let's do a quick script here. Hopefully we haven't added these already. Right now we've got no genres, okay? And after our script is run, you see it said running seed method. Okay, now I've got our genres. And if I run our application again, okay, so we're in our application. Let's go to our games. And we'll go to add a new game. And we're going to see here when we add a new game, you're going to see our list of genres right here. Let's just throw in a couple of genres on that, create that item, and you can see that we have our genres created. All right. So if you are trying to recreate any of this, there is an excellent resource that I use all the time, which is Tutorials Point. In a lot of my courses that I teach, I walk through much of this, and I would definitely suggest looking at Entity Framework tutorial. The one that we covered today was multiple DbContext, or multiple DbContext, and there's a lot of really amazing resources, so I would definitely suggest taking a good look at this. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to leave comments. I very, very much appreciate your help and support. Please like and subscribe to my page, and always be sharing. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.